The Future Rewritten, The Legend of Jamie Dornan, Dakota's Artistic Empire, Amelia's Golden Era, and the Children Who Grew Up Knowing the Truth. A new decade begins. 10 years after the moment Jamie Dornan risked everything for truth, the world no longer spoke about the scandal. They spoke about the transformation. He was no longer a man haunted by Christian Grey. He was a man defined by courage, honesty, resilience. Some actors are remembered for the roles they played. But Jamie was remembered for the role he refused to continue playing, a fantasy built by millions, undone by one sentence spoken with conviction. The world changed. And so did the narrative. The children who grew into the story. Dulcie, Elva, and Alberta, Jamie and Amelia's 3 daughters, grew up in a world where fame was not a crown, but a mirror. They watched fans break, heal, learn, and grow, all because of their father's decision to step out of fiction and into truth. When they turned older, they finally watched beyond Grey, sitting beside their parents on the living room floor, not in a cinema, not under spotlight, just family. The room was silent. Their eyes were full. Then Elva, the most perceptive, whispered, "Did it hurt to live as someone you weren't?" Jamie swallowed, memories rushing behind his eyes. Yes. But telling the truth hurt less than pretending forever. And they understood. Not because he explained, but because they were raised under authenticity, not illusion. Years later, one daughter would become a writer. Another, a composer. Another, an advocate for mental health and entertainment. The next generation would not inherit silence. They inherited voice. Amelia Warner, the woman who blossomed after the storm. Amelia, once the quiet spouse overshadowed by internet fantasies, experienced a renaissance of her own. She returned to music and composing. Her scores for independent films suddenly filled global cinema halls with haunting emotion. Critics praised her depth. You can hear storms and healing in her sound. Music written by a woman who survived the world's projection. Amelia was no longer the wife of Jamie Dornan. She became Amelia Warner, the composer history nearly overlooked. Women's magazines asked for interviews. University arts programs requested lectures. She won an Ivor Novello Award for Best Original Score. But her proudest moment wasn't the trophy. It was the day a journalist finally introduced her without mentioning Jamie first. Her identity returned. Her voice returned. Her story returned. Dakota Johnson, the architect of her own empire. Dakota's evolution was equally powerful. Freed from the ghost of Anastasia Steele, she built an artistic empire. A production company for female-driven cinema. A mentorship foundation for young actresses. A creative platform promoting emotional truth and performance. Her reunion film with Jamie became a global reference for authenticity between colleagues once misunderstood as lovers. And when asked how she wanted history to remember her, Dakota answered, "As someone who didn't let fantasies cage reality." She was no longer half of a myth. She was whole. The film that marked the beginning, and the end. The reunion movie won awards around the world. But the speech that made history happened at the Academy Awards. Jamie and Dakota walked on stage together, not as characters, not as fan fuel, but as 2 artists who outlived a narrative. Dakota spoke first. "We once acted love on screen. The world believed it for real. And for years we stayed silent out of fear." Jamie continued. "But truth doesn't kill love. It transforms it. What we share now, respect, clarity, history, is far deeper than illusion." The audience rose, not screaming, but standing in reverence. A standing ovation made not of fantasy, but acknowledgement. They weren't a romantic story. They were a human story. Jamie's legacy becomes curriculum. Years later, film academies created a course called Acting, Identity: The Myth Machine. Case study: Jamie Dornan. Students analyzed Black small square: The danger of character-based obsession. Black small square: The ethics of fan culture. Black small square: The mental weight of rumor. Black small square: The courage of public truth. Black small square: The transformation of narrative. It became mandatory reading for young actors entering fame. Jamie wasn't just a performer. He became a lesson, a warning, and an inspiration. The museum installation that made people cry. A global art exhibition titled Grey Right Pointing Arrow Human opened in Belfast. Room 1. Posters of 50 Shades. Room 2. Tabloid headlines. Room 3. Fan edits, rumor timelines. Room 4. Interview footage, unguarded and real. Room 5. A quiet white room with Jamie's quote, "I am no longer a character. I am myself." Visitors wept in the silence. Because the exhibition wasn't about Jamie. It was about everyone who has ever been misinterpreted by the world. The final interview, One Last Truth. On his 60th birthday, Jamie gave his last career interview. No drama. No noise. Just calm light through a window. The interviewer asked softly, "Did speaking out cost you more than it gave?" Jamie exhaled, slow, peaceful. "It cost me illusions. It gave me life." He wasn't referring to fame. He was referring to peace. The last scene, a life fully lived. The final image history remembers is simple. Jamie Dornan, older, gentle, laughing in his Irish garden with Amelia, their children, and grandchildren. Not chased by rumor. Not haunted by fantasy. But surrounded by the life he chose. The truth became his legacy. Not scandal. Not speculation. Truth. And in a world starving for authenticity, Jamie Dornan became one of the few who chose it. And so the myth becomes history. Christian Grey will live forever in cinema. But Jamie Dornan will live forever in something far greater. Reality. Courage. Humanity. He didn't escape a character. He outgrew it. He didn't destroy a fantasy. He transformed it into wisdom. He didn't risk his career. He built a legacy larger than any role could offer. Because no man becomes legend through silence. He becomes legend through truth.